Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to FoodCoin. Today we are joined by an Omani pioneer in organic farming, the founder of Yuzu Agriculture. Personally, I was very excited about this episode because it showcases a unique example of business that goes beyond mere profit and is inspired or motivated by health, human and social values, which also aligns with Oman visions. All of this was a result of dedicated work by three Omani brothers, represented today by His Highness Fahr Al Sayyid. So let's dive together in their inspiring journey and vision for the future. Welcome to FoodCoin, Sayyid Fahr. We are so thrilled to have you today, sharing the inspiring journey of Yuzu farming and your incredible work in shaping the organic farming in Oman.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the warm welcome, and I'm very excited to talk today about the work that we've been doing on my farm.
Okay, so can we talk first about what really motivated you and your brothers to start Yuzu farming in 2016?
That's right.
Especially that organic farming was advancing in Oman at that time.
We always wanted to start a business together, and we wanted it to be about a cause that we really cared about growing up. And we saw that as an excellent opportunity to start organic farming. When we went off to live in the UK for university throughout our studies, we always felt that Oman deserved the quality of produce and healthy options that you could find on the shelves across all supermarkets in the UK. And that's something we really wanted to deliver to the people of Oman. And that's what we spent the last 8 years working towards. And in fact, a mission that we hope to continue over the next 10 years and more. We believe that organic agriculture is important for several reasons, most importantly for the public health benefits that it can give to Oman. Aside from, of course, being able to deliver excellent quality produce that people will actually enjoy eating, it has numerous health benefits when it comes to cancer reduction. You know, a study in France came out recently that surveyed over 75,000 people and found that 1 in 4 people could avoid cancer just by switching to organic produce. 1 in 3 people could avoid obesity. You might ask, what does obesity have to do with consuming organic vegetables? Yeah. But it's all in the way that pesticides, of which we have very high usage here at Oman, affect your gut microbiome. And that can have numerous effects on your whole body biology systems. To quote another statistic to you, postmenopausal breast cancer. 1 in 4 women could avoid postmenopausal breast cancer just by switching to organic foods and removing pesticides from their food system. And by the way, postmenopausal breast cancer incidences actually make up 75% of all breast cancer cases. So there are a lot of public health benefits. From the sustainability side, of course, organic agriculture does not use any synthetic petrochemical-based fertilizers or pesticides in the production of food. And therefore, it's reducing the fossil fuels from our food system. One benefit that we add in particular is reducing the food miles on everything that we produce. We supply a lot of pretty much all the major retailers in Muscat and supplant a lot of imports from countries like the Netherlands, which in turn import further afield from countries like Kenya or from the USA, for example. So we were very excited when we started to deliver these benefits to Oman. And we thought it was an extremely interesting problem to tackle, especially figuring out how to grow, how to work with our soils, how to do things organically, which was different from what was being done in Oman before.
I guess that whoever is listening to us now will be really amazed by this introduction to your project. But I believe that they'll be more amazed if they knew that you don't have any background in biology or even in health and medicine. You have a background in physics, right?
That's right.
So why organic farming when you decided to have a business, and you could have just go for any of other business ideas, right?
It was quite a challenge adapting from a background of physics to agriculture. We spent a lot of time struggling, making mistakes, just trying to figure out the correct way to work with our natural soils here in Oman. And it was a very lengthy journey, like trying to figure out what the best type of organic fertilizers were compatible with our soil, how to control pests that are very specific to our region, how to work with the humidity, the climate, the water, all of those issues.
Actually, this was my next question. How did you deal with the challenges that you faced, given the unique climate of Oman environment?
We certainly took our time to figure things out. We've been a company that's been running for 8 years now. And we always tell ourselves that with every new crop we try to grow, we will fail it 3 times. It's a rule that cannot be broken, because every plant type is unique, and trying to figure out the best way to get that to work with the soil in Oman, with the environment, with the pest schedules, it takes a lot of time. But over the years, we've developed a rigorous testing system that really helps to accelerate the process. And this is something that we have developed through trial and error. We do seed test varieties of over 20 different types of seed for every single crop type. We test it at multiple points across the year, and we're meticulous in taking notes on what pests affect the crop across different times of the year, of the yields that we expect to get, of any sort of diseases or viruses that the plant comes across. To mention the background in physics, what has actually helped immensely is the scientific approach that they teach you to approaching any problem, and not to mention the technical skills that I developed in that degree. That essentially translates to being able to form a really accurate model of how a plant should grow across its lifespan, and to form data collection software that really helps to track the progress and the problems that the plant will face across time. The software development skills that I picked up from my degree, I use that almost every single day in my work. I create ERP systems to track harvest data, mobile phone applications for staff to log anytime they see a pest. It goes up on a dashboard in our office and it says, aphids has been detected in field B2. Somebody needs to go and sort that out right away. When you visited us on our farm.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I was impressed by the system itself, because you can see that lots of data are coming in, and there's lots of interpretation to be done, but still the logging system for the workers themselves in the farm is really user friendly. Yes. So and it's really easy to log in the data, the pests that they find depending on the crop type and everything, and then data will come in. You have screens for that, and then data will flow, and you interpret the data. I was really impressed by that, and that you've done it yourself.
Yeah, I think it's so important to our way of farming, and it's so important for the way that we can grow organically in Oman. We always say that if a staff member is having challenges with a particular problem, in our case, it was, our team failing to grow crops 3 times before we get a success in every single type of crop, then you don't change the person doing the job, you change the job, which means that you need to develop the infrastructure around the role in order to make it foolproof. And that's what we've done essentially with these systems. Every time there's a pest spotted, it comes on our screen, we dispatch somebody immediately, we come up with problem-solving plans just like that. We decide, okay, this time we're going to apply these beneficial bacteria to solve the problem, or, maybe we'll spray with chili and garlic to control the pest issues. It's all about speed, it's all about efficiency, and that's what these systems have been amazing at delivering.
Do you have like a technical support team, or do you collaborate with institutions and centers in solving these issues?
So, unfortunately, no. We have a backup team of developers. That's to help with the systems development. But I do 90% of the development work myself. And the reason why I feel it's so important that this is in my own hands is because I don't just see my role as being a programmer. I see my role as being a developer of a system, a step-by-step process to make sure that there are no errors, to make sure that the system will always produce a successful result. And that's why it's important that I'm in control of these systems. I will use my team of coders that I have, they're remote developers, to, tweak some things, to maybe fix some of the user experience applications that you've mentioned before, or to maybe debug if I'm busy handling handling another problem.
Yeah.
They can be very helpful in that. But I always think it's important that I maintain control of the process to make sure that there are no issues with the way that the plants turn out.
Okay, even with things that deal with the plant itself or the microorganisms that you're using or the soil properties, you're doing it yourself.
Yes, that's right. I mean, we've hired graduates from universities who have degrees in agronomy.
Yeah.
But at the beginning stages of our farm, we were handling all of that ourselves. And I think that's why we've done so well, because we really struggled with every single type of pest, disease, virus that you could get on the farm.
Yeah.
And over the years, we've collected lots of useful data on, which plant varieties are well adapted to our climate and which ones aren't. That makes the job way, way easier.
You've achieved USDA certification, right?
That's right.
Which I believe is a rigorous process.
Yes.
So can you walk us through how this entailed for Yuzu farming and how did it affect your daily operations at the farm?
So the USDA organic certification, it was actually hard work, but the results of that work were really a blessing in disguise. And I don't mean in terms of only the reputational boost that it gave us, the confidence that it gives our consumers in our brand. What it really helped with was actually more of the process development when it comes to our farm. They have very rigorous and strict documentation procedures that need to be filled out virtually every single week on the farm. So they want to know exactly where your inputs are coming from. They want receipts for everything. They want to know exactly how much harvest you received from, this field or that field, to make sure that you're not, buying vegetables or cucumbers from some other farm and selling it under your own brand as organic when it's not. And luckily, we had 90 or 80% of these systems developed beforehand. So it was really just adding on a few extras for the organic certification. But it really helped us to think professionally more about how we can make sure that our process is completely rock solid, and how we can make sure, at the end of the day, it's all about consumer trust. And that's one of the biggest benefits that we feel it's given us.
And I think that this is a good message to deliver also to people, that these certifications are not hindering the business. They are actually supporting the business in a way and helping the business achieve its goals. But as I know now, you have over 40 crops, right?
That's right.
Including leafy vegetables. You have herbs, fruits, flowers as well.
That's right. We also grow cucumbers, tomatoes, and some very special tasting varieties of heirloom tomatoes as well.
Yeah. So how do you decide on the varieties that you grow and produce in your farm?
So over the last 8 years, we've worked with a lot of different partners across the food services industry. So all of the major supermarkets, including Lulu hypermarkets, Sultan Center, and many, many others. We also have launched our direct-to-consumer online ordering system, where we deliver farm boxes across Muscat. We've collected a lot of sales data over the years, which means that in any particular month, I can tell you, based on the last 5 years of data, exactly how many cucumbers I expect to sell, exactly how much of salad mix or this or that. And at the beginning, it did take us time to sort of tweak exactly what the right production mix was to maximize the value of the farm. But we've essentially figured it out by speaking to people. So we'll talk to customers, we'll talk to our retail partners, and we'll say, how much do you expect to move of carrots if I can offer them at this price in this particular package? We're always very high quality. That's a non-negotiable for us. How much do you think you could move? You have to have a very close relationship with the people in the industry in order to avoid wastage and in order to avoid inefficiency. Together, you can basically build a great system for making sure that no food goes to waste and to making sure that all consumer needs are met.
How do you describe the organic demand in Oman? Do you think that is there an increasing demand of organic food in Oman?
There absolutely is. We have a lot of very passionate supporters, a lot of people that truly believe, like we do, in the health benefits and the sustainability benefits for organic agriculture. There is still a problem of awareness. There is still a very large proportion of the population that don't know what organic agriculture even means. There are a few brands around the country that will falsely advertise their products as organic, even though they continue to use pesticides and synthetic chemicals. I'd like to think that's just because they don't know what organic means.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the consumer also doesn't know what that means, which is another reason why we think having a certification by a third party is so important. The Ministry of Agriculture actually is working on this, and the wider GCC in general are hoping to produce a GCC organic certification standard, which would be hugely beneficial for this issue. There is a growing demand for organic produce. And as we continue our awareness efforts, as we continue our public education campaigns to tell people about the health benefits that I've mentioned earlier of organic, we get instant conversions. Instantly, people sign up to us and say, I didn't know that this was so important to my diet. I didn't know that this was so important for the environment. And they instantly want to sign on. They instantly want to switch. Maybe they'll start with something small. They'll only switch their cucumbers to organic, and everything else they'll continue as normal. But over time, they will see more and more which products they feel matter to them and which products they feel don't. And that's an effect that we hope to recreate over time by increasing awareness. And with our new farm, we hope to essentially increase production to cost effective. We hope to increase production to make vegetables cost effective to a much wider variety of people.
I remember reading some papers like a few years back that were saying that organic farming can be harmful to the soil itself because you use more soil for less produce compared to conventional farming, and they were saying that it's also labor intensive and things like this. So do you have any sustainable practices that go in line with your organic farming to overcome the overuse of land and water usage as well?
Let's talk about soil. Okay, so soil is a hugely important issue in organic. And yes, in the first 1 to 3 years, organic agriculture will produce lower yields than conventional agriculture. But there's a reason for this. And the reason is essentially that in organic agriculture, we put the maintenance of soil first, which means that we're very, very strict in avoiding overproduction. There are whole seasons of the year where we will do nothing but produce crops that are purely just to increase the organic matter in the soil. So we'll grow them, we'll harvest them, and we'll put them straight back into the soil. And what that does is essentially it's a direct method of carbon capture into the soil. It helps to build the soil structure. It helps to build the biodiversity of the soil, and it really improves the fertility overall. So imagine in the first 3 years that you're building up your soil health, naturally, yes, the yields do fall. But in particular, after that period, it's been shown that the beneficial bacteria, the good soil health, the fertility that you've spent time building really do pay off. And in fact, some studies show that the yields can be as high as conventional agriculture. And you imagine you're doing that without putting any synthetic chemicals in your soil. You're using farming systems that are completely natural. To address your point about the additions that we put in our soil, yes, everything is organic. We have very sustainable practices, one of which is the cover cropping, which I mentioned earlier. The others are essentially utilizing alternative sources of fertility. So again, we don't take chemical fertilizers that are produced via energy-intensive petrochemical processes. We use natural fertilizer sources, which can include things like animal manures or plant waste that could come from municipal gardens, for example, or even minerals that are unprocessed that come straight out of the ground that you can then put straight into your soil. So those things are really, really good for, or rather they have no negative impact on the environment because you're just taking waste materials or alternative materials that are naturally available and you're using them to produce food. And this is again contrasted to conventional agriculture, which uses petrochemical-based synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. To come to the third point that you mentioned about water. So the issue of water in Oman actually stems largely from production of the wrong type of crops. And these are crops that are actually used to feed animals. This is one of the most water intensive usages of land. And it's one issue that we hope to address by giving people high quality vegetables, we hope to promote diets that are less focused around meat and more focused on high quality produce that's good for you, that nourishes you, and yes, has less of a water impact. So currently in the South of Batna region, very large portions of land are used for producing animal feed.
Yeah.
And that is extremely water intensive. When you compare the water usage of animal feed, which versus vegetable production, the vegetable production uses a fraction of the amount of water that you use for animal feed. And imagine the whole process of producing crops for animals. You're growing, let's say some sort of grain like soya bean, and then you're feeding it to your livestock, and then you in turn are eating that livestock. You can essentially cut out that middle step by not feeding it to your livestock, but by consuming it directly. And in that way, you're just wasting so much less water. So again, we really hope to promote more water scarce, conservative practices by promoting high quality vegetables in Oman.
Talking about the organic fertilizers again, are you using your own compost and animal manure, or are you purchasing them? And is there like sufficient amounts to cover all your needs of that organic fertilizers and products or compounds?
We don't use our own animal manures, mainly because we actually don't have animals on the farm. One thing to mention is there is a risk of cross-contamination whenever you have livestock and vegetable production on the same farm. We do compost a lot of our own byproduct waste. That could include, for example, plant clippings from tomatoes, or it could include, extra leafy greens from when you harvest the cauliflower, but you leave the rest of the leaves in the field. We do compost that on occasion, but mainly the sources of fertility come from outside the farm. To address your point, the world is vast, and we have an abundant wealth of resources. Even here in Oman, we don't only use things like animal byproducts or plant waste from municipal gardens. We also use things like minerals. So minerals in their pure form, which has not been processed, there's been no synthetic chemicals added, there's been no treatments done to them. You can use that in organic agriculture. So you can take, for example, sources of phosphorus directly out of the ground and apply them into your fields. So long as there's been no treatment, it is a completely natural fertilizer. And that's actually one of the best fertilizers that you can find. An alternative source, for example, is fisheries waste. So you have to be very careful around the health and safety requirements of this. But waste material from seafood processing that can also be incorporated from soil, you just have to make sure that you work with it in a way that's not going to promote harmful bacteria in the soil. But there are more than enough alternative sources of organic fertilizer. We don't need to use synthetic chemicals.
Because when we were talking about the health benefits of organic farming and people shifting toward like healthier diets and things, I was thinking of the opportunities for organic farming in Oman, and that takes me to the expansion plans that you're having. So can you talk to us about your expansion plan in terms of Yuzu farming?
So we are moving to a new farm. It's going to be the largest organic vegetable farm in Oman. And we're essentially hoping to produce enough organic vegetables for more than 30,000 people every single day. But crucially, we're hoping to do it at prices that would make organic accessible for the masses. So currently, we're only on a small farm, which means that we don't benefit from large economies of scale. I have one tractor, which could plow an area that's 10 times the size of my existing land, only working on an area that's currently not a significant proportion of vegetable production in Oman. This next project is going to produce, it will continue to produce a large variety of vegetables, but crucially, as I mentioned before, we hope to deliver the scale advantages to the consumers that we serve. So, having tractors that serve a much larger proportion of area, having essentially the same amount of staff supported by the systems we've developed, manage an area that's more than 10 times the size of what we have now. All of that will really contribute towards low-cost production of things like tomatoes, cucumbers, which the benefits of which we hope to pass on to our farm box customers, to our retailers, to our hospitality partners as well. The new farm will be located in southern Batna, and one of the most exciting developments that we feel the new farm will offer is actually Oman's first ever organic park, which we're hoping to build right in the center of the farm. Wow. This is going to be an excellent avenue for us to engage the consumers that buy from us in their food system so that they can understand exactly how everything is grown. We talked earlier about the awareness problem that the organic industry faces. It's going to be amazing for educating people on what exactly organic is and why it's healthy. We can talk all day in a farm exactly about the health benefits. We can show people the studies. We can welcome them in. And we're going to build a cafe on there, on the new organic park, which is even going to give people ideas on how to work with the fresh, high-quality produce that we produce. That's one thing that we're particularly excited for as well.
We are excited for your new expansion.
Yeah, and we can't wait to welcome you soon as well.
Yeah, inshallah. So, Sayyid Fahr, I have a question about your expansion plan, because you said that you are aiming to feed more than 30,000 people per day, and that's really an ambitious number. So how do you think your organic farm is helping in shaping Oman food security?
So we feel that organic can play a crucial role in securing the nutritional value of the produce that we produce here in Oman. So it's well known that when you produce crops conventionally with synthetic chemicals and synthetic fertilizers, that can really strip whatever it is that you're producing of nutritional content. So, multiple studies have shown that organic crops have higher vitamin content. They taste better. We recently did a survey of basically all the different types of carrots in the market, and we found that our carrots, when we tested them, were the sweetest of all the available offerings from Australia, China, or conventionally grown Omani produced carrots. What that translates to essentially, why is it sweet, is because it's packed with vitamins, it's packed with beta carotenes, it's packed with lots and lots of nutrition. So that's where we feel we have a really important role to play. And that is beyond the health benefits that include reductions in cancer, reductions in obesity that we've talked about earlier. This is pure nutrition. And malnutrition, of course, is a huge concern globally. Beyond the targets of the next farm, we're hoping to get Oman to a 2% market share of organic across all organic production, across all crop production by 2040. That's our rallying call. That's our major target.
Where are we positioned now?
So currently we will be less than 0.02%.
Okay.
We have a very long way to go.
Yeah.
It is, of course, a new industry. We are pioneering organic vegetable production at scale in Oman. And yes, we're going to face many more challenges, but we're really excited to expand the processes that we've developed across all regions of Oman. Currently, we're only based in southern Batna, but we're really excited to see what we can grow when we approach farms in the mountainous regions, or when we approach organic large-scale production in the south and the Nejd region, which is a very particular focus of the Ministry of Agriculture currently.
And I think this is a really high-value food to deliver to people, right? So do you think that there is opportunity for people to come and invest in organic farming?
Absolutely. This 2% target that we've set for ourselves, we're not going to be able to achieve that alone. Already, we've had countless enablers along the way that have helped us in our path and that have helped us expand our production. But reaching 2% by 2040, that's beyond even what we can do. And to come back to the organic park, that's another exciting development that we hope to release. So we're going to set up a organic farming training institute that will be situated in the center of the park. So we can educate other farmers, other young farmers like ourselves, on exactly what the right techniques are to work with our soil to produce crops organically. We're going to need other farms to start the conversion process, and it's going to be hard, but the benefits will be well worth it. And we hope to spread the message. We hope to inspire people, to get them to start their own journeys on organic farming across Oman, especially in the southern regions, which have vast amounts of land that can be utilized for producing everything from, legumes, which are very crucial for food security, to, nutritious crops like melons, for example.
I have a question on the community engagement, because you've mentioned the organic park that you are willing to open with the new expansion, but you are also already doing some community engagement workshops, or there was a recipe or a cooking show, right?
That's right.
Yeah, because I think that the success of this industry also depends on people awareness regarding organic foods. There's so much to do with changing people consumption behavior and patterns, right? So you are doing already so much of community engagement. That's even before, or even starting now, actually. You're not waiting to open the organic park.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't currently have visitor facilities on our farm, which is something that we feel not great about, because of course we want to welcome as many people into our farm as possible, so we can connect them with their food system, and again explain why it's important to be so particular about where your food comes from. But that hasn't stopped us. As you mentioned, we've taken a number of community engagement initiatives. What you mentioned earlier about recipes, we're very lucky to be able to work with our friend and a very talented chef Sarah. She produces the most amazing recipes. We are continually inspired by her, because when she comes to our farm, she sees all the different types of crops we grow. She has amazing ideas on ways that she can utilize the carrots or the butternut squash or whatever ingredients we have to create absolutely amazing dishes. For us, it's not work at all in order to be able to take the recipes that she creates and publicize them and share them with the people who buy our farm boxes in our online store. And in fact, we have very high engagement from that. We have a lot of consumers who tell us, a lot of people who shop with us tell us, we love this recipe. Oh, where can I find the link to that older recipe? Just yesterday, I was trying to put a customer in contact with Chef Sarah because she had one or two questions about the recipes as well. And she has many, many more ideas, which we hope to collaborate with her in future to produce.
Yeah, and I really love how she incorporate your produce in traditional recipes as well.
Absolutely.
Omani recipes. So I think this is a clever idea on how to change and to adapt the organic nutritious produce, but without losing the Omani taste or the traditional way of eating as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're fortunate to have her believe in our mission, essentially, because she really does care about the health and sustainability aspects of organic farming. She really does care about putting people in touch with their food systems just as much as we do. To talk a little bit more about the other community engagement initiatives that we have as well. Last year, towards the end of season, we launched a scarecrow competition in which we worked with 6 different schools across Oman to design scarecrows that would essentially help to reduce damage from birds to our sweet corn crops and to other crops that we grow open field. So we had many kids working on designing different types of scarecrows. We had an amazing exhibition of the different. We didn't have an exhibition. We had an amazing event at the Intercity Hotel where we celebrated each of the students' achievements, and we awarded the best teams with lots and lots of free vegetables and placards and everything to commemorate their achievements. But we've got those scarecrows up in the farm now, and they are, of course, doing an amazing job. We were really inspired by how easy it was to get the community to help us on our goal as well. And that is through the creation of these scarecrows, which continue to protect our crops today.
I think because you are sharing the high values that the community believes in. So once you put it through the right channels, it'll just work. And I think this is the beauty of it, isn't it? And it amazes me how, talking about this business with you now, it shows how it's not only like benefiting like one sector of the industry, it goes along the value chain, right? You are creating jobs, you are training people, you are like coming up with ideas that can create other opportunities for fertilizers for using food waste from other sectors as well. So it creates a whole chain by itself and benefiting people not only on a nutritious level.
I think this is the nice thing about organic is that sustainability is inherently baked into the process. And I don't mean sustainability only in terms of environment, of which there are numerous benefits. I mean sustainability in terms of a way of doing business. You don't want to exploit your community. You don't want to exploit the environment around you. You want to create a system that works as an ecosystem in general. Yeah. And that's what's been so important to the way that we do business. And I think that also what makes this a really qualitatively enjoyable industry to work in, because you are collaborating with so many different people who can see the benefits of organic agriculture. And we're promoting, again, the ecosystem of thinking sustainably, of thinking conservatively. And that's something that feels great in every day that we go into the office.
Yeah, and we're so proud to have this model actually that not only like aligns with the health values and everything, but aligns even with the vision of the country itself, the sustainability aspect, the business aspect, all of this really makes us really proud and really happy to have you here. Do you have any final messages that you want to convey to maybe young listeners to our episode?
The advice that I would give to anybody who's listening, to anybody who wants to get involved, is about the value of persistence. What we've worked on for the last 8 years has not been easy. We've faced many, many challenges in trying to figure out how to grow crops, in trying to figure out the right ways to engage the community, to manage the business. And yes, we faced a lot of failures along the way. But when you're just careful, when you just take your time, when you just sit with a problem that you have and you persistently and confidently try to solve it, you will eventually come across the solution. Don't be disheartened if at first you faced failure. Failure is the best way to learn how to correctly solve a problem. Just take your time, be patient, and I think you can achieve amazing things. And more importantly, you can inspire others to do the same. And that's basically the message that I have to leave.
And you've inspired us so much today. Thank you so much, Sayyid Fahr, for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me, of course.
This was Abeer Al-Kalbani from FoodCoin. Till next time, keep exploring and stay inspired.